Hey everybody, welcome to another Guitar Story Time. I'm your host Joe. You're watching the Joe Wentz Project TV right here on YouTube. And if you're new to this channel, we love to go live on Saturday night, 8:30 Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. My friend Ralph and I, we do a show called JNR, which Joe and Ralph, Guitar Talk and More. And it's the only guitar podcast you're going to find on YouTube that focuses on the chat. All right, we pay attention to the chat. The chat will be heard, and that's what we do. Also, we do guitar shop reviews, man, and we do some live jams with some music, and I love to write songs, perform them on here as well. And it's just a good old time with guitar stuff all together. And also, I like to tell stories from time to time, so tonight is no exception. So what are we going to talk about tonight? In this case, which will be revealed toward the end of this story. Very interesting story. So let's go back. Let's get in the DeLorean. Let's get in the DeLorean and go back to 1988. There was a store back in Charlotte that was called Reliable Music. And during this time, that was the main guitar shop I would go to throughout my teenage years to my early 20s, mid 20s. And then I would move and I would find out later that shop would close. It was there for many years. Reliable Music, what a fantastic store it was. I would go there to watch people play guitar, because I was learning myself, and I would watch somebody play something and I would ask if they could show me how to play it. So there you go, free guitar lesson, right? My very first guitar was in 1986, Christmas Eve, and we just got through Christmas a few days ago. So that marked the 39th anniversary since I got my very first guitar. We fast forward to 1988. I get my second guitar, which is in this case, but there's a crazy story that goes along with this. But I'm going to tell you the backstory, and then we'll bring it back to the present tense and make the big reveal. I remember in the magazines in high school, I'd always, when I say magazines, guitar magazines, man, I was Guitar for the Practicing Musician, Guitar World. I'm 55 years old, so those were constant in my youth, man. I would always read those magazines, check out what was going on with like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. They were huge in those years, and of course Van Halen, even when David Lee Roth went solo. But there was another guitar player in particular that always caught my attention. His name is Tony McAlpine. And Tony McAlpine, back in those days, he played BC Rich guitars. And the thing that always drew my attention was the headstock of these certain guitars. They just look cool, man. And I remember Tony McAlpine having a couple of solo albums. I think one was called Maximum Security. A buddy of mine in art class let me borrow that cassette album for, I don't know, about a week or so. He knew I liked guitar, and he was a drummer. And he said, man, I think you'll dig this cat, man. Tony McAlpine, check him out. I think, if I segue to this for a second, I think Tony McAlpine is in like Steve Vai's band, or I know he was, and those concert performances, Crossroads, that Eric Clapton would put on. Tony McAlpine was in Steve Vai's performance band for those shows. I don't know if he is full-time or not, but I know he was for a long time. But anyway, he was playing the BC Rich guitars, and I just thought, man, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Those guitars are awesome. So I had tunnel vision. I was like, I want to get a BC Rich, man. My mom and I went to Reliable Music one day. Thankfully, Reliable Music had a layaway plan. So I went, I don't know, a few days earlier or something, and I saw this BC Rich, and I was like, oh, God, there it is, man. It's, first thing I thought about was Tony McAlpine, right? She gave me enough money to put it on layaway. I'm working part-time after school and all this, so I'm, every week I get paid. Man, I was working this 5 and dime job, man. Every little bit of money I'd get every week, it wasn't a lot. I would go up to Reliable and put money on the layaway. Finally, the day came where I was able to get it. At this point in time, man, I didn't know how to tune a guitar. I would just tune by ear. I was just starting to learn how to do power chords really well. I was starting to learn what they call cowboy chords. I was starting to learn that a little bit. Not very fluid, but I was kind of able to move around a little bit on the guitar neck. When you get from 88 to 89, 89 was the year I graduated high school. So they had this thing called the Senior Follies when I went to at my high school I attended rather, and it was a talent show. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to try out for that and play on stage in the auditorium for the school? And back then, the auditorium was pretty good size. I mean, it was a pretty decent size space, man. Pretty big stage and all that. So I went and I think it was the drama teacher, Mr. Moss. Yeah, I never had him for any classes, but I remember his name for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's very strange that I even remember that. But he was the drama teacher, but he was in charge of the talent show. I remember where his classroom was, and I remember going there right after school one day, because I was all through high school I drove back and forth to school, so I didn't have to worry about catching a bus or nothing. So school was done, I walked to his classroom, and I kind of knocked on the door and poked my head in there and said, "Mr. Moss, I was wondering, is it all right if I auditioned for the talent show?" And he kind of looked at him, because he knew he didn't recognize me from any of his class, because I didn't have him for anything. And he kind of like, "Yeah, I guess, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I like to play guitar, play a song or something." And he's like, "Sure, why not?" I'm like, "Whoa, wow." He said I could audition. I was really excited. I didn't know what I was going to do. So this is '89, so you still had a little bit, you still had breakdancing and all this stuff was still kind of, making its rounds. It was starting to fade out, but it was still around at that point in time. So I had this cassette tape that was some knockoff breakdance music thing, but it was all instrumental. So I found this one song, and I was going to try to play guitar with it. See, my plan was I had this jam box, right? Had a dual deck cassette on it, had a jam box. I was going to set it on the stage with my Gorilla amp. Remember Gorilla amps? That was my first and only amp for a long time. That's all I had. And set those on the stage, and then just play along with this instrumental breakdance type music and try to concoct something out of that. So at the last minute, I'm sitting there trying to play along with this instrumental breakdance music piece, and I'm in my room at Mom and Dad's house, and I'm sitting there thinking, this just ain't working. I'm just not feeling it. It's not really doing anything for me. I was looking through some cassettes, and I'm like, maybe I should play along with something else. Now, granted, I've been playing with this piece of music for like 2 weeks, so I got something worked up that, but I was like, nobody's gonna know what this song is, and they're damn sure not gonna know what I'm doing. The last second, I decided to just change everything up. So I start going through these cassette tapes, and I pull out this Led Zeppelin, pop it in the cassette deck, fast forward, get to that song, Rock and Roll. The rest is history, as they say. I said, man. So I start jamming with the song Rock and Roll, Led Zeppelin. When it was time for the audition, when I auditioned, I had played with that breakdance piece of music, whatever it was. And the other kids that were there, I say kids because we were kids. The other students that were there that were part of the show, they were sitting there kind of dancing, and they were feeling it, man. So something was working. The night of the show, a couple of nights before the show, I decided to change my music, which really, in hindsight, nobody gave a crap. What does it matter? So I drive to the show, to the school, and I'm nervous now. My parents are in the audience. The girl I was dating at the time, she was sitting with my parents. I'm backstage, and I'm like, I'm walking back and forth. I'm nervous, got my guitar on. I got my aunt, got all my stuff ready to go. I'm sitting on they say the wings of the stage, I don't know. So I have everything set up. There's a curtain in front of me, and then in front of that curtain, you got a couple of students that are like emceeing the whole event. And it come time for my performance, the curtains open up, and it's just, as they say, a sea of people out there, So I walk over, and you can hear people mumbling and, some people giggling and all this, whatever. Because I look like a dork as it is, So I went to go hit play on the jam box, and I forgot the high-speed dubbing feature was engaged. So when I hit play, it went like chipmunks, and I said, oh God. So I had to go back over it, hit stop. Everybody's in the auditorium is laughing, right? And I go to rewind, hit it, I try to fix it, and finally I get it, and I start playing, and the amp was acting weird. I had all these technical issues that made me look like a fool on stage. So I got through it the best I could, got done, people clapped, but it was kind of, you know, and I thought, oh my God, this is just the most embarrassing thing I've ever felt in my life. So I get done, the curtain closes, I get my amp, jam box, I walk off, and Mr. Moss, hey man, good job, you know. And I'm like, yeah. And I left. You know, a lot of students, whenever they got done, they would stay to watch, you know, to help support the other student. Well, I left. I got my, you know, little blue Cavalier and hauled ass to the house. And I felt stupid. Well, I had to go back the next night because it was a Friday and Saturday night. So the next night I went. My parents, of course, they didn't go. They went the night before. Why would they want to be through this horrible experience all over again? I wouldn't either. But they didn't go, and the girl I was seeing at the time, she had to work. So I went, had my stuff. So here we are, night number 2. Get there and get set up. It's getting close to my performance time. Just like a carbon copy, I get my stuff set up in where I needed to be, and I was looking to where to plug up my amp, and they had my amp to this long, you know, the orange utility extension cords, whatever they call them, the heavy duty ones. And I was looking to plug my stuff up, and I plugged it up, and I went behind the wall. There was an outlet that had 2 plugs, but they were being used, and I was like, man, I need to plug up my amp. So the two guys that are emceeing the event, you know, there's this big round plug in the top, and I just went poof, and I plugged up my amp. And when I did that, it killed the PA system, the house PA. They're sitting there talking, and the mics quit working because I unplugged it. And I thought, oh no. And nobody at the time knew that, I mean, it's an accident, you know, but at the time, nobody knew what was going on. Nobody was like watching me. Everybody was busy over in their areas and stuff. And I thought, oh God. So what I did is I unplugged the extension cord from my amp. I plugged the other plug back in. PA starts working again. And then underneath that, I unplugged it and plugged in so the outlet underneath, I used it. It seemed to be fine. And there's it's here in the house somewhere. I don't know where exactly it is, but there is a VHS tape that I've kept all these years of that talent show performance. And when it first, my part, somebody in the audience recorded the whole show from start to finish. And there was a guy in one of my classes, I think it was his girlfriend's parents, filmed it with a camcorder. I asked him if I could borrow that tape, and I put two VCRs together, and I was able to copy, you know, from one VHS to another tape, and I just got my performance. When it starts, you can see the guys on the MCs, and they're like, these things aren't working, you know, they start trying to cut a joke, and they do good to keep the audience laughing. They do good to you know, until they can, you know, my dumb ass, you know, I went, oh, well, I think I should have done that. And I plugged it back in, and, you know, so I almost crashed the whole talent show just because I didn't have an outlet to plug in my amp. You know, the night before they had me an outlet ready, and this night they probably thought, we don't want him to play, no way, screw it, let him just, you know. Anyway, so I got it plugged in. So I go out there. That night was great. Everything went off without a hitch. Played along with Led Zeppelin rock and roll. Everything was cool. A couple of people was doing some stuff in the background behind me to just try to keep the audience entertained, because at the time I'm just sitting there playing, and I'm not really moving around a lot, you know, it's just by myself. So I would move around a little bit from side, you know, one side to the stage or the other. A couple of students would go behind me just being crazy and being funny and silly. And it was a great memory. It was really good. So it went off, that second night went off great. I got finished, and I got my amp and my jam box, and people backstage. This time it was a different atmosphere. They was like, oh, that was great, man, you know, and all this. And so the next act is going on. So I put my stuff, I actually take my stuff and I put it in my car and lock it up and walk back into the auditorium. But I still have my little jam box, because I had, what I did, man, is I had the had the Gorilla amp, I had a jam box that was playing the cassette tape, and I had another jam box that was recording all the audio. So that's how we did it back in the 80s. There wasn't a lot of tech stuff you could really use, except if you used 2 different jam boxes, you could record in a live setting like that, like what I was doing. When I was coming back from my car and I walked back into the auditorium to join, you know, kind of stay at the end of the show. But anyway, I was on this high, man. That was the first time I played on stage. Second, technically. The night before was bad, but the second night was good. I said, man, I was on this high. So I've got my jam box and I go down the hallway, and it was a big high school. And I found the boys' room. I go in there and all I do is there's a, you know, the wall and the mirrors right here, and I just set the jam box down in the floor, and I sat in the floor, and I had a pack of cigarettes, and I got me a Marlboro Light, lit it up, smoking in the boys' room, literally, right? I'm like, it ain't gonna matter. It's, you know, it's like 8:30 at night, man. Nobody's gonna, school's not in session, you know? So I'm listening to my performance on this audio tape, cassette tape. And so, as soon as I was taking the second drag off that cigarette, who walks in the bathroom? It's Mr. Moss, the drama teacher. He walks in, but man, I thought, oh my God, that's it, I'm busted, man. Last night was a horrible performance. Everything went wrong. Tonight, I unplugged the PA by accident, but before anybody caught me, I plugged it back in. Almost sabotaged the whole thing. I'm sitting here, you know, everything went good. I finished on a high note. Someone had me a smoke, and it was a good feeling. And this teacher walks in, Mr. Moss. And I thought, oh man. You know what he did? He walked, he kind of looked at me, he just kind of smiled, did like that. He went to do his business, and he left. He didn't say a word. He didn't say anything. That's out of a movie, man. That could be out of a movie, because I thought he was gonna be like, oh, no, you come with me. But nah, he didn't do that. He just went. I guess he knew how much trouble I had the night before, but he just said, he just kind of went, just gave me this smile like, hey man, it's all good. He didn't, what is that saying Sammy Hagar always said, what is understood doesn't need to be discussed. That's what it was like. I would have this guitar up through my first marriage. Now the guitar went through some modifications, if you will. I put a new pickup in it. And at the time of that performance of the talent show, I had yellow and black tape on it, the Mimiq Eddie Van Halen Stripe guitar. And that tape stayed on it for all those years. When my first marriage had ended, when I was getting my property and leaving that house, I left this guitar behind because I was like, it was missing a pickup, and there was I don't know, at the time I was like, you know what, I ain't worried about it. It don't matter, whatever. I was getting the other things that mattered, clothes, some other music gear and stuff, and this guitar I left behind. I was gone. I honestly thought this guitar was going to wind up in a dumpster or thrown out on the street or whatever, because of those personal matters, things that hit the fan, let's just say. Years start clicking off. About, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, it's Christmas time, and my son and his wife, well, it was his fiance then, but his wife, they came over like they do every year, and I noticed my son was carrying this guitar case. After everybody starts to leave, my son goes, hey Dad, can I show you something? I was like, yeah. He walks back here, this case is sitting in the floor. You couldn't put it in the floor now. There's a lot of pedal boards in the floor, or on the floor. As soon as I walked in, the case was open, and when I saw the headstock, I knew what it was. The part that blows my mind with this guitar, when I'd left that first marriage, my son had sold the guitar. All right, he sold it to whoever, and that was it. It was gone, right? So somehow or another, my son tracked down this guitar. This is the guitar I performed my talent show with, right? And other things early in my life, and a lot of special moments. that I have attached to this guitar. But my son somehow or another, I don't know if he, was using a lot of internet searching and stuff, he tracked down this guitar and he talked the guy into selling it back to him, or whoever it was, and the guy sold it, and it was in bad shape. The guy had sanded the finish off, so the original paint was gone, and the electronics were shot. So my son actually had all new electronics put in it, and then he just took some red spray paint and he spray painted the body, which is fine because it was originally red. I don't know what it was when that other person had it. I have no idea. So my son gave me this guitar back for a Christmas gift about 4 or 5 years ago, and that's the story behind this guitar. So let's check it out. And yeah, it's a heavy guitar. Can you see that? Look at there. It's the BC Rich right there. Now what I'm going to do is I had to take the top part of the strap off the guitar. Here's the guitar. And he had all new electronics. All those are Seymour Duncan pickups. Really nice. And there's that headstock, that famous BC Rich headstock. Now the original locking nuts, they're gone. These are, whoever did this work put those, and those, the size that it takes is like a 3/32 or something. It is strange. There you go, NJ series. This thing is super heavy, and it's got a this system. It's a Kaler, yeah. But this system you can't use. You can tell it's got screws in it right there, so you're not going to be able to use this system with a bar. And the thing about these Kalers is the springs are underneath this unit, and it's not on the back like a Floyd would be. That's this guitar right here. That's what I played my talent show with. Isn't that crazy? That's insane. And man, it feels like a boat anchor. Oh lordy. Okay, here we go. I thought it was more than that. That says 9.80. Oh, yep. We're knocking on the door at 10 pounds, man. But there you go. That is guitar story time about the BC Rich. Played my talent show with in 89. March of 89, as a matter of fact. Yeah, because it was springtime. And, later on that year I'd graduate. So how was it playing this guitar? Well, of course I had to tune it up, and it was okay. Honestly, you had to fight it. It's not that great of a guitar. I mean, it isn't. I mean, it is what it is. And now that I've been playing for 39 years, I understand. And I looked it up. The NJ series, or this particular brand anyway, was considered the lower tier of BC Rich guitars. I don't know what this went for back in '88. I don't know. I tried to find some images. I tried to find some that were for sale. And I couldn't. The only thing on Reverb was like the BC Rich Warlock or something, but these, I couldn't find any of these for sale. Not that I was wanting to get one. I just wondered how much they were going for, but this thing here, it wouldn't go for much. I mean, it's just, I mean, you can play it, it's okay, but it is what it is. But for sentimental value, man, it's a 10. I've been through a lot with this guitar, and sure enough, it's a BC Rich. So that's guitar story time for now. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a chance, man. we're trying to build this channel slowly but surely, and it is a slow crawl, but I'm doing the best I can do, and it's all about guitars here. If you're a member of the channel, we have, you know, there's content for you guys, and if you're not a member, you want to be a member, there's member content available. Look in the description, look in the description of the video, and you'll see links to the gear that I use. If you want some merch, we got Joe Wentz Project t-shirts there. My new album Survivor is out now. If you want to check it out, feel free to do that. Let's go ahead and leave you with this. We're going to jam with this BC Rich and let you hear what it can do. Like I said, it's okay. It's all right. Is it a guitar I would want to play all the time? Nah. But it's for what it is. It's all right. So here's a tune I wrote tonight specifically for this video and for this guitar. And then until then, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. God bless. Keep rocking. Bye-bye.
Down the road with that girl on my mind. Just a few more miles, try to stay between the lines. She had that hold on me, and her love was never slow. Oh. And when it all came down, all systems were go. Rolling just as fast as she would go. Made it to my place, and wouldn't you know?